It's a collaboration project between vTime Games and Team 17, and it's a dystopian take on the future.
We have our spectacular city called Salvation Heights, and within Salvation Heights, the player takes control of a human who's one of the first humans to have a job in many years. They're needing to take control of the border because there's been an issue with robots misbehaving and not following their programming. Why are the robots misbehaving? Is this a malfunction, or is there something more sinister behind it? And that's something the player can try and work out.
The world itself is kind of a mix of a lot of different futuristic influences like Luc Besson's Fifth Element and things like Blade Runner as well, where you'll have tiny little cars zipping around a sort of futuristic Tokyo. So all of those definitely fed into the look and the feel of the world for Border Bots. One of our art team came up with the idea of doing blocks of city units, and then by joining that together we can effectively have a massive sprawling city, which gave us this feeling of scale. And that was another area where we were able to pull in some of the humour as well in the floating ad boards, crazy kind of futuristic stuff.
It's quite a uniquely comedic British take on a sci-fi futuristic setting.
The moment the actors got hold of the script, they were brilliant. One of the original guys who did cinema advertising in the 80s and 90s.
All your simulation favourites now beautifully simulated in one master simulation, including Falling from a Great Height simulator.
Nevis, he's so funny, giving catty responses.
Your numbers, they were perfectly solid. Solidly average. Happily skating right on the line of competence.
I won't give up! I will not accept this catastrophe!
The Oscar for animated toaster goes.
There is quite a delicate balance with gameplay. You're having to reference and check data while also messing around with all sorts of wacky gadgets and strange ways you'd never think you'd have to test a robot, but that's where the fun lies.
To find out, is a robot flammable? You set him on fire and then use a fire extinguisher to put him out. It's quite tongue-in-cheek.
We had 4 different models of robot that we set out to create. Each one of them's got a different set of mannerisms and a different kind of attitude that they bring to the booth as well. The heavies are these large lumbering bots. The presence in front of you in VR was something we wanted to get across. On the other end of the spectrum, we've got the small roller bots, almost to a point where you need to lean over the counter to be able to see them because they're so small.
It's taking into account kind of like the 3D aspect of looking around a robot, so you actually need to bring them towards you, rotate them, try and find their hidden compartments. One might be on the bottom of their foot, one might be on the top of their head, and you're having to really get involved.
The funniest ones are probably the workers. They have the same proportions as humans, robots with wigs on, robots with hats on, trying to disguise themselves and get through the checkpoint. We've got the elites, which we wanted to have a bit more of a serious tone. Emotionless strips for eyes, these LED strips, kind of like Battlestar Galactica's Cylons, I suppose, was the influence for them.
There are quite a few humorous moments. One of them was quite early on, where you interact with the Medibot. You have to stamp this clipboard. Accidentally, don't really know how I did it, but the clipboard ended up upside down. But well, it's just a preview build, we'll send it off and we'll fix that later. And we got this feedback, which was like, oh yeah, we love the Medibot, we love his character, the upside down clipboard adds to it so much. And I was just like, oh, yep, we meant to do that. It's still upside down now, yeah.
Overall, I think the thing that I like is that we have got this big story going on in the background, and that there is a mystery of why this world is so mad and why all these characters are like they are. And so that leads you through the game, and not all VR games have taken on that challenge.
I hope that the players have fun messing around with our little robots and get some of the humour, I suppose.